everybody, welcome back to Q-Tips. We are the Video Store Junkies, and we are back once again to bring you a few selections to watch over the weekend on streaming. And we're going to get right into this, and I'm going to send this over to Zach.
Thank you so much, Renee. My heart is still pumping. My adrenaline is still going full blast because, of course, I watched Fast X this weekend.
Yay!
I'm actually just kidding. I didn't watch it, but I really needed that as a segue into my recommendations because I started to think, what are some other movies that have reached the milestone of 10 installments in their series. Because we all know movies just get better. The franchise just improves historically. So I started to think, what other movies have gotten so good that they've gotten to 10 installments? And, I started thinking, I think there's another X movie that I think it's a movie that some people have probably passed over. And it's actually time for a reanalysis of this one. I am, of course, talking about one of the greatest 10th installments of all time, Jason X. And I know what you might be saying, wait a minute now, I haven't seen the previous 9 Jason I through IX. Is this movie for me? Well, the answer is absolutely. This movie is for everyone. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is the movie where Jason goes to space. Kind of like the previous installment of Fast and the Furious, which technically was actually the 10th installment because there was that one spinoff, so it still kind of ties in. But anyways, yeah, so this is the movie. Jason goes to space, he becomes a cyborg, he kills a bunch of people, obviously, and it's good fun, and I think everyone who's seen this movie agrees it's a quality installment. I think a lot of people avoided it as the box office at the time would suggest. I think it made about $39 at the box office. But Jason X, what can I say? It's a thrill ride, much like I'm sure Fast X is, which technically, I mean, I don't know if you guys watched. They put out like a 5-minute trailer for that movie, so I feel like I've seen the movie. So I feel like I can say that I watched that this weekend. Jason X is oh my god, I lost my page. So let's talk. As I'm typing this in to see where it's playing. Show of hands. Who loves Jason X? Wow, all of you. Okay, great. Jason X, of course, can be seen on Tubi. That's apparently the only place it's playing. I think Tubi has exclusive rights to Jason X in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Or until the year 2455, which is when this movie takes place. Last thing I'll say about this movie, where else are you going to find a Friday the 13th film with that features David Cronenberg himself? Nowhere, because this is the only one. So, great fun little cameo. So speaking of things that I think need to deserve reanalysis that everyone hates, but I think we should actually love. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to say that about any of you. Speaking of things that only get better with time, Paul, what's your first pick this week?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, actually, I really did see Fast X twice this weekend, but that's
oh my god, are you kidding?
Another story.
I was gonna make a joke about you watching it twice this weekend, and I was like, "There's no way."
I saw it with my oldest, who had only seen the first one. And he was like, he turned to me, he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so here for the next one." And then I told my wife about it, and then so she's like, "Oh yeah, we gotta go." And so we went and we saw it again. So yeah, it ticks all the boxes. I'm just gonna say it's special. So anyway, but that's not what I'm recommending. Oh, and by the way, there are 12 movies because you really need to include Better Luck Tomorrow, Justin Lin's 2002 film, which introduces the character of Han. So anyway, but yes, but that's neither here nor there, because my theme this week is movies where a significant portion of the cast melts. That's right, my first film is Body Melt from 1994. It's an Australian horror comedy, and basically this small suburban neighborhood gets these free health pills. Well, little do they know there's some bad side effects to those health pills. And probably best if I just kind of read the list, aside from melting, read the list that that's listed in Wikipedia. Let's see. The pills are consumed by residents and produce liquefying flesh, elongated tongues, exploding stomachs, exploding penises, imploding heads, monstrous births, tentacles growing out of the face, living mucus, sentient placentas, and other gruesome mutilations. This one's a blast, as if you couldn't tell. So that's... Oh, where's it playing, Paul? Because you got to see this, right? Well, I'll tell you, it's playing on Voodoo Free, and come on, everybody, where else is it playing? Tubi. So Body Melt from 1994, an Australian horror comedy where pretty much the entire cast melts, implodes, explodes, or otherwise dissolves into a pile of goo. And speaking of dissolving into a pile of goo, I'll pass this to Bill Mulligan.
Why, thank you. Hey! So it did work. I mean, as far as losing weight, except for the tentacles coming out of your face, this all sounds subtractive, so... Maybe not if your penis exploded. I mean, depending on who we're talking to, that's probably not a big...
Unless you're into that.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it could be. Well, not really any theme here, except underrated movies by directors who should have done more. And the first one is a really quirky little English film called Deathline, which also was released in the United States as Raw Meat.
Yeah.
It's on Prime, Shudder, and AMC. It's from 1972, written and directed by Gary Sherman. It's got a great cast. Donald Pleasence, and Blinken, you'll miss him, but Christopher Lee is in there too. And the plot is about two university students who find themselves at the center of an investigation involving a man who goes missing in the London Underground. And it turns out that when they were building the London Underground, apparently a bunch of people got trapped down there and have been living there and just inbreeding themselves into monstrous, just very sad homeless people. And there's only one left. They're all dead. And he's a monster. He kills and eats people because what else are you going to do? It's all he's ever known. But he's a really sad monster. He only knows, one line, which is mind the doors, which I guess is what happens every time they close the doors on the subway system. Some voice says mind the doors. That's all he knows. And it's really cool. It's got a great... Everyone who's seen this movie will tell you it's got a great shot. It's a 360-degree pan that you see the lair that he lives in with the dead bodies of his friends and lovers all, just decayed now. It's brilliant. And Gary Sherman is one of these directors that, people saw this and they just about fell out of their chairs on what a great... This is his first movie. But it was all downhill from this point on. He did another kind of crazy one called Dead and Buried, which is
I really like that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good, a mind-blowing ending. But another one of those movies that was kind of divisive. And then he did Poltergeist 3, which was a shit show. His least favorite movie, and of course the young girl died while they were shooting it. I mean, it was just a disaster. And I think that kind of broke his love of doing movies, because after that there's just been barely anything. He teaches film now. It's just one of those things you wish he'd kind of gone on with it, but we still have this one. It's a cool movie, worth watching. It's got that British touch, and definitely a good one to see. So that's Deathline, maybe Raw Meat, I don't know, but it's on, like I said, Prime, Shudder, AMC, and it's kind of like all the few films that he's done. It's sort of getting a re-examination. And I will send this over to, wait a minute, who's left? The lovely Renee? Yes, the lovely Renee.
Well, thank you. So my recommendation, much like Fast X, is about family. It's a young couple, and they are going home to see the son's father. I should say the family, they are Hasidic Jews, and so they are going home to the father. He runs a funeral home. The mother has passed, so he's coming home to hopefully reunite and, kind of bring the family back together again. The son has married a non-Jewish woman, so there was a little bit of tension in the family, but, the father has, kind of opened up his home, and hopefully things can kind of get back on track a little bit. But they are dealing with a little demon problem, which happens from time to time. Yeah. So this movie is called The Offering. It's on Hulu. some people liked it, some people didn't. I really liked this movie, but also I think it hit me on a couple levels where I really enjoy like mythology and lore and demons and just religion in general and the Jewish religion is one that's just always kind of interested me for a long time. Anyhow, I just thought this movie was really good. I thought they had a lot of great attention to detail, and it was very atmospheric. And I thought, the sets were great. I just enjoyed it a lot. It's called The Offering, and it's on Hulu.
And I'm going to interject and say I second it.
Yay! Thank you very much. And so I will pass this over to Zach.
Thanks again, Renee. So, continuing on my 10th installment theme this week, I have another one that's not an action film, but it is a horror film, or I guess it's a type of horror film. And I'm not going to say a whole lot about this one. The film is 10 Cloverfield Lane. I know what you're saying. Do I have to have watched the other 9 Cloverfield Lane films to get? Once again, no, you don't. No, you don't. But in all seriousness, this does have Cloverfield in the title, which you may know that there are other films with Cloverfield in the title, but you actually don't have to watch those. You should watch the first one. It's a great movie, but this one is not really a sequel. It's not really a spin-off. I can't really say what it is because I'd be giving too much away, but the premise of this movie is that something has happened. Some event has happened, and a Good Samaritan played by John Goodman has rescued a young woman played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead and taken her. She was in an accident, and he got her down into his bunker before basically the world ended. Or did it? Or did he? Ooh, so many questions. Very suspicious. But yeah, I don't want to say any more other than just love. I mean, this is a cast of 3. There's another guy in there. I can't remember who played him. Sorry, other guy. I'm sure you're still great in it, even though I can't remember your name. But really, really stellar performance by everyone. I mean, John Goodman. Here's the thing about John Goodman. Like, he's such a lovable, fun guy, and every time you see him in anything, he just kind of like lights up the screen. But man, when he plays, I don't want to say, again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but not even a villain, but a character who's threatening, I guess. I don't think that's giving anything away. Man, he's a scary guy.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wish that he would play those roles a little more because he's just so good, and yeah, really creepy stuff. So once again, the name of the film is 10 Cloverfield Lane, and you can, if you're in your bunker at the end of the world, you can catch this on Paramount Plus and Hoopla. So I guess catch on Paramount Plus before that streaming service just disappears forever. And speaking of people who are broadcasting from their bunkers, I'll pass this over to Paul.
Why, thank you, Zach. And I'll second that movie as well. That's an excellent film. So, continuing with my theme of movies where a majority of the cast melts, I've got to go with pretty much the granddaddy of movies where most of the cast melts from 1975. Is it 74, 75? Sorry about it. 75. Bill, do you know what movie this is? You should know. The Devil's Reign.
Oh,
You're supposed to give them time to answer.
The Devil's Reign.
Yeah. Why?
By the director of Dr. Fives.
That's right. Robert Foyt. Is it Fust?
I don't care.
What's
He's
his name?
dead.
He's dead. Anyway, but it's The Devil's Reign. That's spelled R-A-I-N. And it is amazing. It's playing on Tubi, Pluto TV, Shout TV, and Plex. And apparently also AMC Plus, if anyone actually happens to have that one. So this one has an amazing cast. It has got Ernest Borgnine. It has William Shatner, Eddie Albert, Ida Lupino, Keenan Wynn, Tom Skerritt, and in his feature debut, John Travolta. Uh-huh. And this is just and it also has in it, and as a consultant, Anton LaVey. So there you go.
My.
Yeah, it is amazing. It is goopy, melty people everywhere. It's also famous, aside from being John Travolta's screen debut, is This is the film where they basically had to make a life cast of William Shatner for when his eyes are missing and when he's melty and stuff. Spoilers. But they used that life cast to go ahead and make a Captain Kirk mask. And what was that Captain Kirk mask used for later? Why,
Halloween.
of course. Yep, Halloween. That's the original Michael Myers mask. So it all ties back to The Devil's Reign. Yeah, this one's wild because they're like, wait, you've got these older character actors in this. And it's just this bizarre, melty, goopy, amazing, melty film. Not a good film, but still pretty amazing. And Ernest Borgnine is pretty much fantastic in this. There's no two ways about it. So that's all we got. We've got The Devil's Reign playing again on Tubi, Pluto TV, Shout TV, Plex, and AMC Plus. And speaking of melting Satanists, I'll pass this to Bill Mulligan.
Why, thank you. Hey, you know what? I finally got to see Ant-Man Quadrophenia the other day, and it's terrible. Like, we should do like a deep dive on what the hell happened to Marvel. I'm just baffled. But that's not the film. I want to talk about something that did not have the budget of the craft service table on any day of Ant-Man. It's 1973's strange little movie Ganja and Hess, which I couldn't believe that we didn't do. But
Oh, yeah.
unless Paul screwed up the spreadsheet beyond all recognition, apparently we've never done it. It stars Dwayne Jones, who was, of course, the star of Night of the Living Dead, and again, never did much after it. Which is really baffling. He was so good in everything he did, and definitely, in one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and yet, I don't know, maybe he just preferred theater, or for whatever reason, just was not used much. It's directed by Bill Gunn, who didn't do much either, and this film kind of disappeared, appeared under a bunch of different names. Oh man, a bunch of different names. You may have seen this film as Black Evil, Black Vampire, Blackout: The Moment of Terror, Blood Couple, Double Possession, or Vampires of Harlem. They're all the same movie, or are they? Because like Black Vampire, which was the video title, is Ganja and Hess, but it's an alternate version with scenes that are not in Ganja and Hess and scenes that are in Ganja and Hess, but these are alternate takes. And both versions have something to... There's good in both of them. It's kind of a shame. I'm sure someone has probably attempted to kind of Frankenstein them together and come up with yet another version. I believe the original one has been accepted as like considered an important film by whichever, the Smithsonian, whoever it is who takes a couple of movies every year and makes sure they don't disappear. So it has finally gotten some attention. Like, what's it about, Bill? It's a vampire film. It's about an anthropologist who becomes a vampire after his intelligent but unstable assistant stabs him with an ancient cursed dagger. Yeah, that's unstable. He then falls in love with his assistant's widow, and it goes on from there. So it's kind of an African telling of the traditional vampire myth, and it's really cool. It's a slow burn. It's not, there's no sparkly vampires. It ain't Blackula. Let me put it that way. And I love Blackula. I'm not saying that to be mean or sarcastic or anything. I love Blackula. I'd rather watch Blackula than Ganja and Hess. But watching Ganja and Hess makes you feel like, you're intelligent and, you're sipping your Pabst Blue Ribbon through your, complete lensless glasses, trying to pick up some goth girl, whatever. Yeah, it's a good film. It's definitely worth watching. It is on Fubo, Prime, and Canopy. So that is 1973's Ganja and Hess. Definitely worth a look. And then you can smoke a pipe at a party when people are name dropping other films and everything. It's like, well, yes, but it's no Ganja and Hess, or something douchebaggy like that.
I also want to mention, so it's been a long time since I watched this movie, and I remember hardly anything about it. But
yeah.
I will say, I love Dwayne Jones, and I love him in this movie, or I remember loving him. But I also remember being just blown away by Bill Gunn's performance. I kind of want to rewatch this to see if it. I just remember being blown away by his performance. he's got a very like authentic. I don't even remember like what it was about it, but yeah. So it's got like two really just phenomenal performances in it that I don't think it talked enough in just like discussions about 70s horror.
Yeah, you're right. Bill Gunn is very good in it, and why? Because he's the writer director, and like any smart writer director who also wants to act in his movie, he wrote himself the best part. I totally approve. So yeah, definitely worth a look. Check it out. Now it's not a part. Don't invite a bunch of your stupid, don't really like horror films. Think that the best Friday the 13th was Jason X. Idiot buddies and put this one on because they're gonna like start booing it at 10 minutes when nothing happens in the first 10 minutes. They're gonna throw it out. So this is for cultivated tastes.
You mean educated people who know that Jason Takes Manhattan is the best Friday the 13th?
Oh well, how could it not be? I mean, just that title alone. You mentioned Jason X. The part that everyone remembers is they have a holodeck.
The sleeping bags, yeah.
The sleeping bags. I'll say no more. For those who haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it. I'll just say sleeping bags. You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
And it's better than Leprechaun in Space. I feel like there was another film that they were talking about doing an in-space version, and it would have been absolutely stupid. Or maybe I was thinking they were going to send Leprechaun back to the Old West and do a Western with Leprechaun. I've still fallen into this horrible rabbit hole of movies that never got made, and after a while you start forgetting, was this one made or did I imagine it? I feel like I've seen it because they write themselves, a lot of them. Ilsa versus Bruce Lee in The Devil's Triangle. Take my money.
Hey, Renee, do you have a movie to recommend?
Speaking of forgetting
I thought
things.
we were done. I totally forgot. I thought we were done.
Wow.
I just like to go with the flow.
Wow, Renee.
Man, I'm sorry, Renee. I was just going into we're all done, and I'm just going to see how long I can go on before you just leave.
Honestly, I would have just let you keep going. It's fine.
You know what? I feel like we haven't had enough reviews. Renee, do you have something else to recommend?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually do have a second recommendation. It is actually not a movie, though. It is a series. There's only 4 episodes, so you can watch it pretty quickly. You don't even need to watch every episode because they're all kind of their own standalone. It is a Shudder original series, and it is called Queer for Fear: The History of Queer Horror. It is really interesting, I will tell you. So basically it's a documentary, and it's different people that are coming in. They're telling their own experiences and, kind of giving a look back on some of these older movies and different perspectives on them, their own relationships with movies, and just things that give you a different perspective and kind of makes you want to watch the movie again. Really interesting and entertaining as well. And it's available on Shudder. I think the episodes are only about maybe 45 minutes each. And once again, it's called Queer for Fear: The History of Queer Horror. And it's on Shudder. And now we're really done. Bill, do you have anything to sing us out with?
No. God, no.
Aw, man. Thought I'd just try and see what happens.
Someday.
Just break out in song.
No one else does have something to sing us out with. I do.
Oh, I was going to sing the Jason X theme song, but you go right ahead.
How's that one go? Jason X, Jason X. Is that it?
No.
Sure, close enough.
Well, mine actually ties in with my theme. That's right. It's I Melt With You by Modern English. Moving forward using all my breath. Making love to you was never second best.
Shelley, save us.
I saw the world crashing all around your face. Never really knowing it was always mesh and lace.
For the weekend of May 26th, Bill recommended Deathline, available on Amazon Prime, Shudder, Night Flight, and Plex. and Ganja and Hess on Showtime, Canopy, Fubo, and DirecTV. Paul recommended The Devil's Reign, available on Shudder, Tubi, Pluto TV, The Arrow Player, and Plex, and Body Melt, available on Tubi and Vudu. I recommended The Offering, available on Hulu, and Queer for Fear, The History of Queer Horror, available on Shudder. Zachary recommended Jason X, available on Tubi, and 10 Cloverfield Lane, available on Paramount Plus and Hoopla.
Paul, I was gonna say I was a little bit disappointed that you didn't recommend for your theme, your melting person theme, that you didn't recommend Street Trash, and then I remembered that absolutely no one should ever watch Street Trash whatsoever.
Actually, I thought I had already recommended it at one point.
Oh, really? Probably.
Yeah, I was thinking about Street Trash,
as you always are.
but because I think didn't I mention Street Trash this weekend, Renee? I thought I had mentioned it.
Apparently, no.
I don't
But-
remember.
But Body Melt is lesser known.
Yeah,
and
apparently
then
no one has ever
Alchemy
recommended Street Trash, as it should be.
Yeah.
also. Really? Oh, I know what I'm going to recommend at some point. How can you
so-
not?
Oh shit, I think you
Come on,
did.
it's got the
Oh,
best
God.
homage to 2001 in it.
It's so bad.
The future opens wide.